All right, birth story video time of this sweet little girl, Lily. Um, okay, so let's go back to Wednesday. So that would be the 23rd, 22nd, 21st. So September 21st of 2022. That was just like an extra emotional day. Like I felt very, very emotional. Um, Lots of releases of stuff that I thought that I had released and let go. A lot of feelings of guilt towards my first puppy, Snickers. Just thinking back to the way things were with Dave and I, and the arguing and the chaos, and how Snickers would climb into the tub scared, and how I didn't do anything to go comfort him. And it just reminded me of what my parents did to me, and how they would, my dad would yell and scream and abuse my mom, verbally, physically, in front of me. And I'd be, in the doorway. The biggest time that I can remember was like in one of my parents in their bathroom in an apartment that we lived in. And I just remember standing in the doorway and screaming, telling my dad to stop. And they couldn't have cared less that I was there, that they were doing it in front of me, that I was being traumatized, that I was telling them to stop, like begging my dad like to stop. And like nobody ever comforted me after. Nobody ever told me that's not okay to treat somebody like that. Um, and then, as I got older, then he would scream and yell at me. Um, but so there was a lot of release that day on Wednesday of the guilt, and then the guilt too of finding out that Dave had been leaving Callie alone in the crib in the mornings and not going in to take care of her when I was at work, and I thought he was getting her up and getting her ready for daycare. And just those feelings of guilt came back again, and just so much like crying and release on Wednesday. And then Wednesday night, got the kiddos, went to sleep, and then Thursday morning, so the 24th, I woke up at 3 a.m. just wide awake. I realized I'd been having some cramping, like the start of like the menstrual cramps kind of a thing, like for labor, not like the really, 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 really light ones that I had had that Monday before and the Monday before that. So I guess those were like my very, very, very first would have been that Monday, and then the Monday before. Those super light, like could feel kind of like little period cramping. That I was like, I do think that was my body starting, maybe the process. Braxton Hicks, I don't know, because I do feel like it was just kind of starting the process, but not like starting labor. So that morning at 3, I woke up. I realized there had been some cramping, but nothing consistent yet, nothing to even like time yet. And then getting the kiddos ready for school, and for Jeannie to pick them up at 7. And that day, I had a midwife appointment, and I was supposed to have a massage, but that actually fell through. She didn't have me on the schedule. We had talked about it, but not scheduled an actual time. So when I checked in with her to see what time we were going to do it, it had like not gotten on the schedule. So then we were going to schedule it for Friday, the next day. And then, so that morning I started having like light contractions, and I was like, well, I had scheduled the appointment very last minute because we didn't think I'd go to 41 weeks, which was that Thursday, that morning. So I did end up scheduling an appointment with Wendy for that morning, at 9. and Wendy messaged me and pushed it back to 9:30. And I hadn't told Kate about it because we kind of didn't think I'd go to 41 weeks. And so she wouldn't have been close if she was out in Queen Creek to be able to take me. I was just gonna take myself. But since I started having like contractions, I was like, I don't know if I want to drive. So I called Carissa and asked her if she could take me. So she came over and she took me to my appointment with Wendy. And by that time, by 9 a.m., the contractions were every 20 minutes. So I am going to use the word contractions. I guess being a physical therapist and being a doctor of physical therapy and having that background knowledge of like a contraction is just a muscle activating working, which is usually a good thing, right? Like we want our muscles to work for us. It does not bother me at all to use that word. Some people like to use the word waves or surges. I think those are the other two most common, because some people associate contractions with pain. I do not, and that's always the word that I've used, because to me it doesn't mean pain. We want to contract our muscles when we work out, when we walk, when we are active. Contracting them is a good thing. So for me, that word has never been triggering, but for people that it is triggering for, replacing the word in your head with surges or waves, whatever resonates more with you. So I was starting to get them every 20 minutes, very light, very mild. So went to my appointment, came home, did not end up getting the massage with Isabel. We rescheduled it for Friday. So that day I just kind of hung out around the house, got some more rest because I had been awake since 3 a.m. And that morning when I woke up, there was no going back to sleep, like not even a remote chance. So I think I got up, maybe made some food, and then I finished my book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which y'all know was magical the way I came across that book. So, she's just so sweet sleeping away. This is literally, she's just so sweet. And she'll fart every once in a while. Oh, big yawn. We'll see if she wakes up and wants to nurse during this. Right now, she's just snuggling away. So there was no chance of me going back to sleep. So I was like, okay, I'll just not even try and, fill the time until 6 when it was time to get the kiddos up and ready for school. So that day, I did manage to get some rest. I was able to sleep through the contractions every 20 minutes, knowing that they were there, but not anything by any means that I couldn't sleep through. So then I also asked Addie, because that was the one day that Jeannie, my nanny, was not available to pick up the kids for me. She was available to come later in the day to help feed them and get them ready for bed and everything, but not to pick them up and bring them home. So Addie did that for me. She picked up my two kiddos and dropped them off at my house for me, which was amazing. So then they got there about 3:30, 3:45, probably about 3:30. And then Jeannie got there about 4:30. And it was really fun to show her because she never got to experience active labor with her twin girls, because she ended up getting a C-section. that it was really fun to show her like what the contractions felt like from the outside. So like when the uterus is nice and soft and squishy versus when there is a contraction and it gets nice and firm. It was really fun to share that and be like, here, feel how firm it is. And then it was like, oh, okay, now feel how squishy it is. So that was really neat to share. I got to share that with her on Thursday. And then Kate did come spend the night that night. So Jeannie got the kiddos ready for bed and everything. And the contractions actually like kind of slowed down. And then by the time the kiddos were asleep, the contractions had actually stopped. So that was new to me. I had not experienced that. Once it was go time with Callie and with Hobbs, they continued until it was birth time. So this was a very different experience for me. And I mean, they were super, super just like mild. Like I could feel like kind of the period cramping, and I could feel the uterine getting firm. There was absolutely no pain or discomfort with it. It was just kind of like a cool sensation. And then Friday, same thing. So things had slowed. So Kate came over that night. She spent the night. And then the next morning, that was Thursday. She came over, that's right. And we watched Cheaper by the Dozen 2 together. So that was really fun too. Just to hang out and not have to labor alone. Was that Friday? See, now I can't remember. So she, yeah, because I don't think she came over until, I think it was on Friday. So she didn't come over that night until that night. So Friday, Jeannie took the kiddos to school. The contractions had stopped. That morning, they slowly started back up again. Same thing, I could kind of feel them while sleeping, but nothing like, regular, nothing that I could even remotely time. Very spaced apart, very mild. And then right around that 9 a.m. mark, they started, and this time they started every 10 minutes. Same thing though. That's what Thursday was. Thursday, I did a session with my therapist. I did a Zoom session with her, with Donna Morgan, who's amazing. And I will put the link for her in the description. So we did a session at 1 that day before the kiddos got home. That's right. So I did a napping instead of getting my massage. And then I talked to Donna and I was like, what should I watch? I need something to watch. And she was like, well, you like Cheaper by the Dozen. She was like, it's a sequel, but it's still funny. So I watched Cheaper by the Dozen 2 on Friday with Kate. So Friday, the kiddos went to school, 9 a.m. They definitely were starting every 10 minutes. Very consistent. It was weird. It was almost like on the dot 10 minutes where you're like, how is it like literally every 10 minutes? Not 8 minutes, not 12 minutes, like every 10 minutes. So I rested for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, I want to watch something. And at that point, I was like, I don't really want to be alone. So Kate came over and watched with me, and we hung out in the living room and watched. And then she went home for a little bit to take care of her boyfriend's puppy. And then Jeannie came home with the kiddos. And so this is Friday night. So by this time, contractions still 10 minutes apart the entire day. Again, just very mild. Like I was just present that they were happening. Nothing like, I never felt scared during it. never felt pain. It was just like, okay, like, well, it'll be interesting to see when Jeannie gets here with the kids if they'll continue or if they'll stop again. I thought that was very fascinating the way they stopped the day before. It was almost like my body was like, okay, time to focus on your kids. We'll put this on pause for you. So Friday, they continued once she got home with the kids. So they got home probably like that 3:30, 3:45, and Kate was planning on being there at 7:45 that night because Jeannie needed to leave by 8. So that kind of stuff happened like in the background, like the coming and going. And around dinner time, so the kiddos were playing with Jeannie in the kitchen and they were doing science experiments and Play-Doh and the volcano, like the baking soda volcano, and just having a blast. And I was noticing that I was having to pause from talking to breathe through some of the contractions. And I was like, okay, like that's a little bit more, intense for sure. Again, it was never anything painful. It was just something that I needed to focus on so that I could stay relaxed and breathe and present during them. So during dinner time, I excused myself and I went and took a bath. I felt like I needed to be by myself, creating that more calming energy instead of being around the energy of like fun, playful energy of the kiddos and my nanny. It felt like it was getting to be a little bit too much. So I went and took a bath, and I just asked Jeannie to really try to keep them on the routine to help get them to bed ASAP. Well, Hobbs at least to bed ASAP. So Callie, my daughter, is 7, and Hobbs he will be 4 in November. So he's 3 and basically 10 and a half months. So like almost 4. So I went and took a nice, long, hot, relaxing bath. I actually did not end up reading during it. I think I brought a book in there. I had my phone just to see what time it was, but I did not watch anything or go on my phone. I lit some tea lights. Door was closed, otherwise lights were off. It was just that needing to be in a dark, calm, quiet space. So she's so sweet. We'll see if she wants to nurse here short. Like, she's been sleeping for a while now. She's getting some longer periods of sleep at 5 days old. Like at least 2 hours. Last night was the first day at 3. So I took the bath. By this time, it was pretty much like I needed to check out and go within. So I got done with the bath probably at like 6 something. And I came into the bedroom. We did put something on for Callie. Don't even remember what it was, but just something so that she could hang out in here with me while Jeannie was finishing getting Hobbs ready or whatever she was doing. Hobbs spent some time in here with me to get our snuggles before bed. And then I did call I'm gonna have to pause this and look and see at times. Hang on. Okay. So 6:30 in my bedroom in here watching TV with Callie, and I could tell the contractions were definitely starting to intensify where I really needed to breathe, but they were still only every 10 minutes apart. So I did call Wendy, and I told her that in like an hour after Hobbs is asleep, I was planning on calling her and asking her to come over and check me. So at this point, Thursday, I did not get checked at Wendy's office to see how far I was. I just did not want to know. Like, if I was only 2 centimeters, like, what if I was still completely closed? Like, what if, like, I just did not want to know. It does not matter, um, because things can go from, like, with Callie, 2 centimeters to 10 centimeters plus one, meaning her head, she's coming down, she's starting to come through the birth canal, the pelvis, like, that happened within an hour and a half where I was getting the urge to push. So to me, I just didn't want to even torture myself with finding out. But at 6:30 on Friday, I did decide, okay, I want Wendy to come over and check and see where I'm at. These are starting to get to be more intense, but they are still only 10 minutes apart. And they tell you for moms, second plus time moms, 5 minutes apart, lasting a minute for at least an hour. That never happened for me. For first time moms, they say 3 minutes apart, lasting a minute for at least an hour. So, because of the 10 minutes, I was kind of like, I wasn't sure, but I really did want to be checked by then. I just was curious. And that was me listening to my intuition. And then I sent a text to the birth group, to my midwife, to my therapist, who's also a midwife, to Alyssa, my doula, and who else was in there? Kate was in there, and Julia from Halos was in there in case I needed her for Hobbs. So I texted in there and I said that I called Wendy at 6:30 and asked her to come check on me in like an hour, and that I feel like at that time when Hobbs goes to bed, I'm going to need Alyssa, my doula, but I will call her before then if I feel like I need her before then. So I, like, Jeannie was putting the kiddos to bed, and 7:25 rolls around, and I called Alyssa to let her know Jeannie's just finishing putting I did ask, at the 6:30 time, I did ask my baby and my body to hold off on things, please, until Hobbs was asleep, so that the energy could calm down and I could just relax and be present with the contractions and the birth and not have to worry or feel like I needed to be on for him. So 7:25, Jeannie's finishing putting Hobbs to bed, and things are definitely starting to be same. They're every 10 minutes, but more intense. But about that time, I was still getting the really strong contractions at 10 minutes where I was needing to kind of go in and breathe through them. But then 3 minutes later, I'd get like a very, very incredibly mild contraction where I'd be like, is that like that almost felt like a little wave. Like, it was weird. It was very different. It was just very, very mild where I was like, well, that was 3 minutes later, but that wasn't like a big surge, like a big, yeah. So I guess I'll just switch up the words that I use in here. So I called Alyssa and I told her, Jeannie's finishing putting my son down. Please be ready. Like, how far away are you? Please be ready to be here when I call you. And she was only like 15 minutes away. And same with Wendy. So Alyssa was prepared, like, to be ready to be here. I just didn't want her to come before Hobbs went to sleep because I didn't want him to be so excited with everybody here, because the more people that are here, the more excited he gets to like have people to talk to and show off to, and like little Mr. Social. So I wanted to wait until after he was asleep. So um, right after 7:25, 7:30, I called. I think I ended up calling her back again. Um, and I was like, okay, I'm going to want you to come. And she was like, okay. So then I called, I called her like right back, like 5 minutes later. I called Wendy and I told her, okay, I'm ready for you to come and check me. And I went to the bathroom and I'm on the toilet at this time. And then I called Donna at 7:40, my therapist, my also a midwife, also like present at my birth, which was amazing. I was so excited when she offered that, and just like magical to have her there. A mama of 7 home births, like just the most perfect, person to have, who knows me, and like the most perfect energy to have there, having had 7 magical home births of her own. So I called her at 7:40, and I told her Wendy's going to come and check me. She is quite a bit further away, I think like a good 45-minute drive. So I wanted to give her the heads up that Wendy was going to come and check me. And I told her, I said, I feel like I can't get off the toilet. I feel like I just need to stay here. And I was sitting on the toilet with my feet up on a step, and she was like, good, listen to what you need and stay there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So I hung up with her, and so that must have been just before, so like pretty much right as I hung up with her, I was just on the toilet. This was in between any sort of contraction, and I heard a pop and felt a pop, and then I heard just whoosh. I was like, my water just broke on the toilet. I was so happy, so excited. I'd never gotten to actually be present and feel it with the first 2. Callie, I'm assuming it happened when I was so quickly dilating. Same place too. Like I dilated a lot in the bathroom with her. That Hobbs, I think his broke because I just kept feeling with Callie like I needed to go to the bathroom. And I did not even know at the time it was known as the dilation station. So with Hobbs, I think it broke when I was pushing. I kind of remember that, but I don't really, I never felt truly connected or present in either birth. I was much more scared, had not put in all the effort and the research into basically de-brainwashing myself. That birth is not painful. Birth is not scary. Learning what it looks like when the muscles are doing their thing, learning what it looks like, and I'll share some of these resources below in the video description, learning what it was like, what it looks like. And this one came across my Facebook like 2 days before the birth. It actually was the coolest video that showed the thinning and effacement and the way that the uterus shortens. And that just helped explain those like period cramps that you feel. It was really neat to see what was happening with the cervix, and taking that hypnobirthing, the 6-week hypnobirthing class, they explained to you so much too about birth just being like a natural thing, that it doesn't have to be painful, that it doesn't have to be scary, that it's not medical. It's not a medical procedure. It has become very, very medicalized, especially here in America, in Western society. But that's not how it originated, right? And why is it like that? Money. Learning how much some of these women pay for their hospital stays, especially if there's an induction and interventions, like pain management interventions. That's a lot of money for the hospitals, a lot of money for the doctors. So, of course, they want you to be induced early, which I cannot believe how many people in this What to Expect app were being induced at like 38 weeks. I'm like, but your baby's not supposed to come yet. That is one thing that also I feel like needs to be normalized is anywhere from 38 to 42 weeks. Like, what's your due date? Anywhere between here and here. Because anywhere between there is like completely and totally normal. And I feel like we put this expected date on it. And especially for first time moms, when you get to that close to that date and you're so over being pregnant, and then when you reach that date, and if you go beyond, you're like, fuck, like, oh my God, I just want to be done with it. Versus if we just would have said that 42-week mark to begin with, there wouldn't have been anything abnormal if it goes to that date. So, doing the research, like I was saying, to de-brainwash myself, getting to see what it looks like for the uterus when it's actually contracting, like what the muscles are doing. Well, they're pulling up on the uterus while kind of squeezing the top part of the uterus in order to help guide baby down, giving it a little nudge towards birth canal. It's really cool. And then they have a visualization utilizing a rosebud opening to imagine the birth canal opening for the baby's head to ground through. That one helped me a ton. So, I used that a lot during these when things were getting to be more intense. So 7:40 rolls around. Water breaks. I'm on the toilet. By this point, I'm just waiting for Alyssa to get there and Wendy to get there. And I wanted to order myself a steak dinner. So I'm trying to find who would deliver my favorite restaurant, right? DC Steakhouse in Chandler. Just sounded amazingly perfect as a congratulatory to myself. So it took me a while. Uber Eats had it, thank goodness. DoorDash did not. So by the time I found it, I'm on the toilet. Wendy gets there. And Alyssa gets there. I think Alyssa might have gotten there just before Wendy and came into the bathroom to check on me. I was still doing great breathing through surges. Wendy hung out with me in the bathroom, and her student Haley was there as well. And I told her I really wanted to order this food. So, in between contractions, I managed to get an order. So I had like found it, contraction, start placing my order, contraction. I think I finished placing my order, contraction. So Wendy is like, okay, like Mama's ordering steak dinner. She can't be that far, right? Haha. So Alyssa helps me into the bedroom to get comfortable for Wendy to do the cervical check. So when Alyssa had already been kind of comforting me through some of the surges in the bathroom. So I'm laying on the bed. I was terrified that Wendy was going to say, oh, you're only 2 centimeters. Like, yeah, still have this much to go. Especially because the contractions, so I did tell them, I said, they're still only every 10 minutes apart, but sometimes I'll get these like very, very mild ones after 3 minutes. But those ones I can still talk during. It's fine. I don't have to like focus on them. They're just very, very mild. Like the pre-labor. So she, explains what she's going to do to check. She explains everywhere she's going to be touching and the progress, like the progression of checking, and, gets my consent and goes ahead and checks and kind of wiggles around a little bit and then goes, Mama, you are 7 to 8 centimeters. And I just about wanted to start crying. It makes me want to cry now. I could not believe that I was 7 to 8 centimeters. And I go, Alyssa, what time is it? And she was like, I was like, what time was it when she checked? So this was a little bit later. And she was like, I wrote it all down. I wrote down all the details. So I go, no, what time was it when she checked me? She went and she looked. It was 8:10. So 8:10. Everything before that, like, totally manageable on my own. Very calm, very present the whole time. So Wendy checks 7 to 8 centimeters, but baby is posterior, meaning sunny side up, meaning her face is facing my front. She did not put it that way. She put it in a very much more mild, not scary way. She said, baby's back is over here, and we need it to be here. That's how she worded it. It was very sweet. So she asked Alyssa to get me into, it was like this right side lying position on the bed. So I was laying on my right side, but with my left leg hanging off over the bed. And my bed is just on the foundation, the bamboo foundation. It's not up on anything else. So it's pretty low to the ground. So we kind of adjusted so that my leg could just hang there and not be like supported on the ground, but just dangling. And this was to help rotate baby. So I did ask Alyssa for some more description. I said, okay, please explain to me, how is baby? How do we need baby to be? So I can help with this visually. And she was doing like massaging on my sacrum and my back and the pressure. And she asked as well, but she just like kind of started and she asked, she's like, can I touch you? And I was like, yes. And she is like, how is this touch? Is this okay? And I was like, it's perfect. Like she just knew exactly what to do, where to touch, where to provide comfort, where to everything, all the things. So, and I will mention with Callie, I had a lot of back pain earlier in labor too, and I'm guessing it was the same thing, that she was posterior, but at some point she flipped, so it was good. But I never had back pain, even though this one was posterior. Like, never bothered me at all. When Alyssa was putting the pressure on the sacrum and the back and doing the traction and the massage, it felt amazing. But it wasn't like I was getting pain there. It just helped really alleviate. I don't know. It was perfect. And then during the contraction, sometimes she would put some traction to help on my iliac crest to help open the pelvis. That felt amazing as well. And the biggest thing was, once Hobbs was in bed, I was able to release and let go and really get into the contractions, the waves, the surges, and if like I started doing like the animal sounds, right? The like, I don't know, low moaning. And when I was on the bed, if my voice would start to get higher, Alyssa would provide the perfect reminder to breathe baby down, breathe low. And I didn't even notice, but she was like, relax into the bed, relax and let go and sink into the bed. And I did not realize I was tensing up. So her telling me that allowed me to just release, let go of all my muscles and just relax into the bed. And it was just like so perfect. And she was like, we're going to aim for at least 15 minutes. I'm guessing we got closer to at least a half an hour. I'm not sure. Because by that time it must have been like 8:15 until, I will ask her because I don't know what time I transitioned to the birth tub, but I'm guessing it was like 15 to 30 minutes to help turn baby around. So at some point she did help me sit up. I said, they told me the birth tub was all set up for me. Kate had gotten there, and Jeannie was still there. Kate and Jeannie helped set up the birth tub for me, get it all filled up, get it taped with the liner in place. And so Alyssa, when she said it was ready, she's like, would you like to stay here? She said, I know you talked about wanting to be in the tub. Would you like to go out there? And I said, yes. So she helped me transition into sitting and into, to help me move. And I thought it was so funny because when we were sitting and she would hold her arms out, I kept wanting to rub my head against like her forearms, like a lion, like a cat, like a lion. That same sensation that I'd had before, where I'm like, I was definitely a lion in another life. Like that rubbing of the heads. And it's so cute because now Callie does that with Lily, and it's so sweet. So I did that through some of the surges, and it was weird how much doing that and like rubbing my head helped calm me down. And we transitioned out into the living room, and she helped me into the birth tub. And I did start on my knees. And at some point, Hobbs came out, and I was like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. Like, please get him back to bed. Jeannie stayed a little late and helped snuggle him to sleep, because he wanted to see what was going on. So Jeannie brought him back into his room. So actually, that must have been when I was in the bedroom that happened, and I heard him. Because Jeannie said she left at like 8:15, 8:30 that night. So she stayed a little bit longer for him, which, again, just all the perfect support and energy present, and so much loving female energy. So Alyssa brings me out to the birth tub, and I climb in, and I'm hanging over the birth tub. She kind of talks to me a little bit about positioning, like how to kind of reposition from where I was. And I was like, can I actually squat for her a little bit? And she was like, yeah. So she kind of helped me get into like a squatting position. And then from there, I could feel baby really moving down, like into the canal, into my vagina. Like I could feel the pressure where I was like, okay, that's a little bit too much pressure, but I can feel I'm getting really close now. And again, it was like being present with each contraction, each time. Like I wasn't checked out, I wasn't scared. It was near pain-free. The only thing is then at some point Alyssa switched from comforting and touching to taking pictures, and I kind of felt like I needed a little bit of physical touch. But so I switched back to my knees, and I was resting over a towel, which was exactly what I wanted, like a towel over the birth tub, resting and leaning over it. And so Alyssa helped me position so that my knees and feet were in a better position. And Donna got there and, just kind of lightly touched my hand to let me know she was there. And I would say during about the last 3 contractions, in my head, I was like, I am so tired. And then a little break, and I was like, I am so tired. I was like, okay, girl, if you're tired, that means you're hitting the wall. That means you're almost there. Because for so many women, when they are literally like it's crowning time, that's when a lot of women will be like, I can't do it. I can't do this anymore. And that's like, everybody knows, like, oh, you're ready to push your baby out now. So I did not voice it out loud, but there were 3 that I voiced that in my head, and I was like, girl, that means you're getting close. No need to complain. It means you're getting close. So that was another one of the researches that I did, was the Spiritual Midwifery book, recommended to me by Donna, and also my friend Kari. And I feel like baby L knew they needed to wait. This was when I didn't know if she was going to be a girl or a boy, right? Um, this is like, I feel like she knew I needed to read those positive birth stories first. And I'm glad I did. And that was the part of the book that I listened to. Quite a long part of the book, just all the positive birth stories. And in there they talk about, like, what good is complaining going to do? Just going to make you tense up. It's going to make things last longer. Stop complaining, release, let go. Hi, sweetie. Yeah, you can tell I'm getting to the end of your birth story. So, then the next contraction, though, I remember shoving my face into the towel and being like, oh God. And I'm pretty sure that was because her head was starting to crown. Like, maybe came through, you know, like the pelvis at that time, the like past the pubic bone. And so I kept being like, okay, I want to feel her head. I want to feel the head. I want to feel the head. And I know I called her almost the whole pregnancy anyways, right? So she does not have a complex. She is a girl. But anyways, I could feel, I felt like I was getting ready to feel her head, and I really, really wanted to feel it. So during one surge, I reached down to see, and they asked me, they're like, can you feel her head? And I was like, no, not yet. And then the next one came, and I could feel her head. I could feel her hairy, hairy head. She has quite a bit of hair, quite a bit. Look at all that beautiful, beautiful hair. And I could feel it. And I was like, oh my gosh, her head's coming out. Okay. So pushing. And I was pushing through one contraction, but her head was not out yet. And I was like, I need to keep pushing this baby's head out. And I could literally hear my birth team going, yes, mama, push, push, push. You're so, and I could hear Wendy go, you're so strong. And that gave me the energy I needed to continue pushing during that downtime and into the next surge. So I continued to push through that. And then her head was out, and her head was in the birth tub. And the midwife student checked to see if there was a cord around the neck, and there was not. And I'm chilling, and I'm so tired. I'm hanging over the birth tub, and Wendy goes, all right, mama, it's time to finish pushing her body out. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to do that part. So I definitely relaxed in between those contractions, though. I needed that downtime. And then the next one that came, same thing. Wendy and I think it was Haley too, encouraging me to not only push, but how to, because I reached down and I felt her head the whole time, but how to reach down and get her shoulders and get her and catch my own baby in between my legs and bring her up onto my chest, onto my belly, through my legs up to my belly. I was not expecting that. And they helped guide me how to do it so that I could catch my own baby, which was amazing. And I'm so thankful for. And so then I'm holding her and I'm like stuck in this position. She also had a very, 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 very short cord. So I could not bring her up onto my chest. I could bring her to my belly, head barely out of the water, and that was it. So Donna helped me rotate from being on my knees to be able to turn around to sit down on my butt. But I couldn't sit because I was sore. So I had my feet kind of pushed up against the birth tub, and I didn't want to sit down into the water too low because her head was really low. So I was like kind of pushing my feet up on the birth tub to keep my booty up, and getting some contractions but not delivering the placenta yet in order to bring her up higher onto my chest. So Haley helped guide me. She said, during one of those contractions, I can go ahead and help assist pulling on the cord to deliver my own placenta. I was like, oh, I can do that. And I was like, okay. So they were like, well, do you want to do it here? Do you want to try going to the bed? Like, what would you like? And I was like, no, I want to like do it here. So, waited until like one of the next contractions. It took a couple, and then feeling that and giving the cord, she was like, yeah, it's strong. You can tug on it. So I gave it a tug, and Haley helped unwind it, making sure that it like got all washed off in the water and stuff. And I pulled out my own placenta, like helped assist during that delivery, which was cool and amazing. And put it into the little, like Haley put it into the little bowl there next to me. And then Donna helped me with my swimsuit top so that I could bring it down, so I could bring Lily up so she could start nursing. When she was born, she was so calm, so alert, started taking breath right away. They did also offer to cut the cord because it had already stopped pulsing. But I kind of wanted to deliver it first before we did that. So that's what we did. And I love that they gave me options this whole time, and very empowering, like encouraging me to do stuff and giving me these options and letting me make my decisions, and no pressure, like whatever I want to do, they'll help me with, and amazing. So this little one comes out, and shortly after, she's opening her eyes and she's looking at me, just looking around, and she's just so calm. At some point when she was on my belly, she did give like a little cry, just like a little, like okay, I'll make some noise to let you guys know I'm good, but I'm great. So calm, so peaceful. So I wasn't able to deliver the placenta yet, so Donna helped me with the swimsuit top to get it down out of the way so that I could start nursing her to see if the contractions then would kind of help with the delivering of the placenta, which they did. I just kind of had to like hunch down a little bit. And such amazing pictures of her like on my belly, and they put the towel over her, and they were like keeping her warm with water. And Callie ran and got her hat, and the hat was Callie's from the hospital that she got as a baby, and now it's passed on to Miss Lily. And so got the placenta delivered, and then was able to bring her up a little bit further, and then from there the helping me into the bedroom, because Lord knows I needed the help. I was so like just tired and weak by then, and all I wanted to do was go to sleep. I was just like, I am so tired. So she was born at 9:18 p.m. So I would say really like just over an hour of that more intense active labor, but never did it feel painful or scary. It's so hard to describe because it wasn't like it was completely pain-free and there was that exhaustion, but it was like knowing that that was me getting ready to deliver her head. And there was maybe some slight, like, I would say soreness, not even burning, with her head crowning. And she was born 8 pounds, 12 ounces, 21 inches long, healthy baby girl. Not tiny, nice and chunky and healthy. And yes, so she, Alyssa, and I think it was mostly Alyssa, really helped me back into the bedroom, because I was just, like even getting my legs up and out I needed a lot of help by then. And we came in here and into the bed, and somebody helped take off my swimsuit top like fully, because it was still partially on, so that I could nurse. And Callie was there. Oh yeah, Callie was there the whole time, which was amazing. Like when I was leaning over the birth tub, um, Donna could tell that Callie was like a little, kind of like standing back a little bit with Kate, and she had her BG bear. And Donna encouraged Kate to go ahead and bring her over to the couch. And it was so cute though, because at one point when I was leaning over the birth tub, like my arms were hanging over, and I looked up and I saw Callie holding her BG bear, and I was like, "Hey, sweetie, how are you?" I was like, "You doing okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." She was just so sweet hanging out. And um, so after Lily was born and she's on my stomach, so Callie's off to my right by the birth tub, and I was like, "Callie, did you want to come see? Do you want to come see if you have a baby brother or baby sister?" I had not looked at it at that time. I waited. And she was like, "Oh, yeah." So she came over, and I kind of opened Lily's legs, and she looks, and she was like, and I was like, "What does she have? Does she have a vagina, like a labia and a vagina like you, or does she have a penis like Hobbs?" And she was like looking at me. I was like, "She has what you have, right?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "So what do you have?" She was like, "A sister." So that was so sweet. Um, and she had been really, really worried about the blood ahead of time. And there was no blood when baby was born, until after the placenta was birthed. Um, and it never even phased Callie once. Like, she was definitely so focused on Lily and how sweet her new sister was. And she even said, she was like, "Mommy, the only time that I was scared was when you were yelling and everybody was yelling." And that was when I was pushing baby Lily, her head out. I let out a huge yell on that one. And everybody was cheering me on. So it did get very loud at that point. And Hobbs slept through it all. They did ask him if he wanted to come cut the cord, and they asked him twice. He wanted nothing to do with it. He wanted to keep sleeping. He was totally zonked out by that time. So we came back into the bedroom, and Callie was sitting next to me, and I'm sitting here, and they did the newborn exam right here at the end of my bed. We'll switch my view. So the pack and play was not there yet. So it was clear. So they did it right there at the end of my bed. The whole newborn screen and check and everything, and it was so cool to get to watch. And Lily holding Donna's hand during it, because she was definitely starting to fuss during it, and Donna just kind of reached out and held Lily's hand during it, so she was calm and comforted. And while Haley did the check for everything and checked for neck symmetry and the clavicles, to make sure that the collarbones, to make sure they were intact, checking the sacrum and the end of the spinal cord, and checking for any scoliosis. And it was just so cool to get to watch it. And they did the little newborn footprints, and just getting to be very, very present through the whole thing, because I never had any interventions. I never felt checked out. I just got to stay very present the whole time. It was so cool. And then getting to enjoy the snuggles and the nursing, and they're asking me if I need anything. They did get me my steak dinner, and Alessa was feeding me bites of my steak dinner, which was amazing. And then I was like, kind of like, "Well, now what?" And they're like, "Well, we can do this. We can help you to the shower. We can do this, And I was like looking at everybody. I was like, "I just need to go to bed. I just need to go to sleep." So I dozed off just like this, holding her, and then laid down later in the night. And yeah, it was just amazing and magical. And I want that for everybody, that home birth experience. And this little one was just, I guess she really is a Libra, very balanced, very calm. And I remember saying to my therapist, I'm like, she's just so calm. And like peaceful. Like, what has this been, over an hour that I've been talking? She's just sound asleep. The therapist is like, yeah, that's a home birth baby. And I was like, wow, everybody needs to experience this, like everything about it. And it's just funny, the people that I've talked to after that are like, I don't know how you did it without an epidural. And I'm like, you don't need it. You don't. Like, it doesn't need to be painful. It doesn't need to be scary. But we need that education in our lives to show us that it doesn't need to be, because all we see on TV are women screaming in pain when giving birth. We don't see the magical home births. We don't hear the stories. We don't read the books. We don't, unless we seek it out. That's not what we're exposed to. We're exposed to the Western medicalized birth. So I'm just so excited that this little one, like, helped me learn and heal and learn just how magical home birth is, and how amazing and calm it can be for mama, for the family, for the baby, and learning about how different my pre-labor was. When Wendy checked me at 8:10, an hour before Lily arrived, she was super surprised to find out that I was 7 to 8 centimeters as well. Lily did come out in correct positioning, so whether it was off the side of the bed, Dawn also said when she got there, she immediately started doing Ho'oponopono, and Wendy could tell she was doing it, and that might have also helped Lily transition into the correct position. Whatever it was, she did transition so that she was correct for me to birth her. And she's still just like happily. Little smile. She's like, Mama, I want to be comfy. She's just so sweet. Yeah, doing the research to learn what birth really truly can be like, and I'll link all of those resources because I know my hypnobirthing instructor was the most amazing person. Wendy, my midwife, was the most perfect midwife I could have ever asked for. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. She was very surprised that at 8:10 I was 7 to 8 centimeters. Because my contractions were still really only 10 minutes apart, like the ones where I needed to breathe through them. And she actually texted Donna, my therapist, and I was like, haul ass.
In a couple minutes.
Okay. Is Callie going to come in and take a nap?
She's eating her yogurt, and I think maybe after that, she said.
Okay. Yeah. Tell her she can come on in when she's ready. Yeah, Wendy was very, very surprised. She thought, I talked to her today at my follow-up, and she thought that when she checked that I was going to be like 3 or 4 centimeters long. She could not believe that I was 7 to 8 centimeters with the contractions every 10 minutes. And she said, when we were in the bathroom and I was trying to order my food, she said, I was like, oh, hang on. And she goes, oh, that was one? I didn't even know that was one. And I was like, yeah, because I was able to stay like so calm and breathe during it. That even my midwife couldn't tell that I was having like a really, really strong one. And then I would tell her, I said, okay, now that was a mild one, and I could keep talking to you during it, which was very interesting. Hang on, I'll be right back. Yes, of course, this ends up being longer than I originally planned. I figured it's just such an awesome story that, oh, hang on. Yeah, just figured it would end up being longer of a story. It was just so magical, and just trying to recount everything, and I really wanted to share it, but I wanted to be rested. And I finally got that rest last night with the postpartum doula and this little one starting to sleep longer stretches, which I'll probably have to wake her up to eat here shortly because she has not eaten now for at least a couple of hours. And they say, like, you don't have to until it's about 3 hours, so I'll probably wake her up to see if she wants to eat here shortly. But yes, with the postpartum doula here last night, she's just so sweet. I was able to get a 2-hour stretch of sleep, and then another 2, probably maybe close to 2.5 hour stretch of sleep, because this little one went 3 hours, and had to kind of wake her to feed her, which was like, yay. And then I got another like half an hour, I think, 45 minutes maybe. And then Hobbs actually woke up early. And then I got a shower today. My midwife came and checked on me today. I got a shower and got to wash my hair and just felt so good. Chris hung out with Lily during that time. And yeah, so it was good to finally share this story. And I think, oh yeah, I totally forgot while we were on the bed doing the newborn, before we did the newborn screen, I got to cut Lily's cord, which was really cool too. So I had like the most calm early labor. I could not believe that I was 7 to 8 centimeters before really feeling like I needed to go within and really just finally let go and get there. It was just so cool that I was already that progressed. I was so proud of myself too, like so proud of myself for getting to 7 to 8 centimeters, where then I was like, okay, now I really do need some support to get through this last little bit, like hour and a half. And getting to feel her crowning, getting to feel, getting to catch her, getting to help assist my placenta, having my beautiful daughter Callie there the whole time. How was the birth for you? What did you think?
2 scary parts, but yeah, I was fine the rest.
What was the second scary part? I know one of the scary parts.
Well, that's the only scary part, when you were getting loud.
That was the scary part, when I was getting loud and everybody else got loud.
There's 2 times it got really loud.
Okay, there were 2 times. So maybe the first one was her head, and then maybe the second one was her body. During her head, that was when everybody else was cheering, huh? That one got really loud. That's when you said you had to plug your ears, right?
Yeah, well, I had to plug my ears for both.
For both?
No, head I didn't plug my ears, maybe for a little, but definitely body I did.
Did you get to see her head when it was in the birth tub?
No.
No? Okay. I know Alyssa got pictures or video of it.
Did she get a bug bite?
She might. She looked like she had a little one earlier on her. Aww.
Yeah.
On her face. Where does she have one at? Is it on her shoulder?
It's like right here. And I think I have a bug. She has a bug bite.
She might. She had a little redness on her cheek earlier, but it's gone now. It was only a couple of hours ago. So yes, getting to feel the highlighting moments for me was the
Hey, you're talking to Danielle.
7 to 8 centimeters. The I'm leaving a video of my birth story, the birth story.
And we named her Lily.
What's her full name?
I think it's Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she only has a full name. She doesn't have a nickname. So That's what we named her. She doesn't have.
What's the rest of her name?
Lily Marie Rachel Larson.
That's right.
And I'm Calvin Quinn Rose Larson. I don't know how Mama goes.
Do you remember? Jennifer.
Lynn Monroe Larson.
Yep.
Anna Hobbs goes like Eric Hobbs, Ivan Larson.
That's right. So somehow the two middle name things started with me when I hyphenated my married name or my maiden name with my middle name. And then I decided to keep my married name after we
broke up.
Yes, after the divorce, after we got unmarried. That way I would have the same last name as the kids. And somehow decided to end up giving them both two middle names as well. It just kind of always worked out that way with Calvin. I just thought of Callie Quinn. Kind of like Harley Quinn.
Like Quinn.
Yeah, I was thinking like Harley Quinn.
I don't think.
But Callie Quinn, and then Rose after my grandma. And Larson, and then Eric after their dad's brother, Dave's brother, Hobbs, so that we have our Calvin and Hobbs, like the cartoon strip. And then Ireland, just, I don't know, Flode and Larson. And so this one, we already had the name picked out if it was going to be a girl.
It's a Larson.
Yep, so she'll have the same last name.
Lily Marie Rachel Larson.
Mm-hmm. Even though she'll have a different dad. She has a different dad. She will have the same last name as all of us.
L.
Mm-hmm.
Is this an L?
That's an L. And that is my near pain-free birth experience. Definitely magical, and did a lot of work on envisioning what I wanted and how it would all go. A lot of work with my therapist on that and just on healing in general. Mm-hmm. And this little one has been amazingly healing for not letting certain energies around, and it has been great. All right, I'm gonna go spend some time with Callie.
Me and her dad, the older daughter and the younger daughter.
Yep. Now I got my two beautiful daughters.
I love Lily.
Bye. We love you.